Hey everybody, welcome on back to the Anchorage where everything is awesome, and there's been a slight change in the scenery a little bit. I've actually done a little thing, I'll talk about that in a moment, but it's the first day that I've got the air conditioner running. So if you hear a hum, that's what it is. And it's going to be in the upper 80s today, Fahrenheit. So upper 20s, low 30s Celsius, somewhere around there. Don't quote me on it. But either way, we have the next edition of VlogQuest, and this is it. So this is actually, VlogQuest, that word is the overarching name of the series. The specific edition title is ThorQuest, because this is Thursday, this is being released, and there we go. So, and you know, I happen to have my Thor's hammer pendant. There we go. Its name is Mjolnir. So, got to read the old mythology, Old Norse mythology about that. So, there you go. So, we are going to be talking about myself keeping busy. And yeah, it's been a little over a month. I haven't had anything really for content to really do any videos on. But I've been keeping busy and I wanted to share. So, so why don't we get into that? All right, so first up is I'm building a computer for Automatic. Who's Automatic? What's Automatic? Automatic is a call sign, Battlestar Galactica, pilots, ground crew, whomever. You know, they're nicknames of sorts to recognize these people. Somewhat reflective of their personality, who they are, what they do, stuff like that, so on and so forth. How did Automatic get hers? Well, I had to give her a ride somewhere. She doesn't have a car at the current time, and you know, I give her a ride to work and I take her home. And she asked me for a ride to someplace else, and I'm like, all right, yeah, that's fine. And she had to use directions, so she got directions on Google Maps. Yep, she used that. And when we got there, you know, did her thing, whatever, got back in the car, we left, and I asked her to reverse the directions so that we could go back the same way we came. And she said, what do you know? I already did. I'm Automatic. Bang. That's where I got the name. So, she has a computer, and they're sitting right here on the futon. It's a Dell Precision T5500. Dual Xeon processor, and she wants to get back into World of Warcraft. I happen to have an old Windows build on this drive, and I'm going to be putting this in there and getting it all up to date. It is all up to date as of a couple weeks ago, because I did fire it up and do all my updates, because I was working on possibly giving it to her with this originally, but she needed a different machine, because the one I was going to give her wasn't not going to crack it. So she asked me, well, I've got this machine, can you do it with this? And I'm like, yeah, want me just to switch the drive out? She goes, well, no, not really. The machine, or the case that you've got that you wanted to give me, could you take the insides of this one and put it into that one? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So that's what I'm going to do. So, and then I'll do that. It's a slow process because I have to take my time with it, a little at a time. I've got, this machine is discombobulated. I've got a bunch of stuff out of it, but I need to stop there because I need to strip out the other case that it's going to be going into. I have to strip that out, get that in there, log into Windows, and make sure everything's up to date, install any software that needs to be there, and then I can give it to her. So I'm going to be doing that. In the realm of my Raspberry Pi units, sitting right up there, Now it's a cluster case of sorts. There's 4 in it. I've got 3 3B units and 1 3B plus. I'm currently using 2 of the 3s as simple file servers. That's pretty much it. So I've got 2 blank ones that I'm not using for anything right now. Need ideas. Any ideas? Throw it down below. And whatever it is, I cannot attach any extra equipment to these because space constraints. So there we go. But these were connected to the router directly. And if I'm going to be running all 4 at some point, I need a network switch for them. So I purchased a network switch, and all 4 go into that. And then it's also routed from that switch to the router. So, and calling a hawk out to Battlestar. I'm using the term causeway. It wasn't commonly used in the show, but it was referenced in the show, and so I'm going ahead and I'm using the term causeway as network switches. So that's what I'm doing that. So I've got 4 on my network. I've got an 8 port, which is my primary one, known as Alpha. I have another one called Beta, which is down there, which goes out to my TV and my Atari VCS. I've got a third one that is Causeway Charlie, that goes out to the tank, to my son for his stuff. I don't pay attention to that. So here's a switch. It's a 4 port. For what you've got going on, you don't need more than 4. You don't need to draw that much power. You draw enough power as it is. Thankfully. And I just purchased my new one for the Raspberry Pis, and that is Causeway Delta. So it's a 4 port. It's down on the floor behind the futon on everything right there, and it's working great. And there we go. And I'm logged in through SSH. So I'm doing that. Cable management. Well, because of the extremely limited amount of space here, I really can't afford proper cable management in order to get all of the lines to be really neat. The primary thing is space, and the secondary reason is because all of the cord lengths are of different lengths, and nothing matches up. So there's only so much I can do. Oh, you could, someone will say, oh, well, just buy, accompanying cables to accommodate. That's money I don't have. So I have to go with what I've got, and that's what I do. Just like what Prepper Princess says on YouTube. Go with what you've got, Prepper Princess out. But I say go with what you've got, I'm out. Anyhow. But for some of my cable management, what I want to do is I don't necessarily want to be seeing it all the time, so I am hiding some of it. It's like, up there, I've got my router that way, and I've got my Raspberries that way, and of course, it's on the shelf, and all the cords, they come down, and I can see them all the time. Well, I don't necessarily want to see them all the time, so I went to the local dollar store, and I bought a presentation board, And what I did was I've got some of the paint that I used for the wall, and I took that same paint and I painted it. And I painted it on both sides. And that's because when I painted one side, it went like that, And I'm like, all right, let's paint the other side, and it got better. So then I flattened it out, put heavy weights on it, and it molded flat and stayed that way. And then I cut little slits. I've got them up on the brackets for the shelf and shoved it up there. And no cables. So that was a good little job. One story that I've got, I don't actually have it written down, but it's just something I just did a couple of days ago. I had two computer stations of sorts. I had this one here that I do all of this on, and do all my Linuxy stuff, my personal productivity stuff, and my gaming on the two machines, Solaria and Odin. But I also had a backup station for streaming, and I was using my laptop in the bedroom, and I had a 24-inch monitor in there, and just like out here, this is a 24-inch monitor that the camera's sitting on, and I'm like, you know, I've got this extra monitor. Why don't I put it to use? What could I possibly use it for? I help out Switch to Linux. It's a channel on YouTube and also a channel out on Odyssey, Rumble, BitChute, DLive, Twitch, Locals, and he's also out on Reddit, but just for posting and stuff like that. But what I started doing recently was during the live streams, during the Thursday night supporter stream, I'm a guest. I jump on, and yeah. And what I do is I monitor the streaming chats, and that's on YouTube, Odyssey, and Rumble. You know, I just had it on the one monitor, and I would have Jitsi, which is a video conferencing application. I'd have that up so I could see everyone in the chat, and then I'd put the chat windows around the edges. So I decided, why don't I take that other monitor from the backup streaming station, bring that out and hook it up to the PC. So that's what I did. So I've got dual monitors here. And of course it just shut off because it just went to standby. That's on Solaria, so that's fine. I'm looking on Odin, so Solaria can go to sleep. I'll wake her back up in a little bit here. So yeah, I've got two monitors, and I brought out last night I actually just brought out the webcam that I was using in there. I've got that on top of that monitor out here, and that way I can have you know, two angles when I do this stuff. I don't have it plugged in right now, so, and this is another webcam that I made. I just installed an app, but I'm not using it as a webcam for this one. So I did that. So I've got two monitors. So this one is directly below that camera. It's right below you, right under your chin, your nose, your neck. And right there is the other monitor. So that's why the angle is a little more that way, because that's the way it's going to be. And there we are. So that is what I've done for an extra project that I just did within the past few days. And in the world of Switch to Linux, Switch to Linux is a channel on YouTube, also out on those other platforms I just mentioned. And of course, you know, I join in on the supporter stream because I'm a supporter of Switch to Linux. And I also moderate the chats for not just the supporter stream, but also for the weekly news roundup stream that takes place on Friday nights. And when I can, I try to hit any Saturday premieres. Lately, I've been able to. So I've been there fairly consistently. But however, what I decided to do was, you know, I'm a supporter, but I only support so much. I feel that I could do more. So I started doing that. It's like, what could I do? So I'm like, all right, why don't we take his video posts, stuff like that, and essentially not just do a straight up repost. Why don't we quote the post and add a whole bunch of hashtags? on X, that's only, you can only go so far because you've only got 250 characters to do, and some of these video titles go very long, so they use up a lot of characters. So there's only so much I can do on X. So my world is the Fediverse, because on the application that I use, I use a web app essentially. It's a Akkoma through Disroot, and that's those guys right up there. And I'm a supporter of them also. So there we go. They so they have a Fediverse Twitter-like thing, but you have 5,000 characters you can type. That's my world. The more room, the better. And what I also recently started doing was taking the thumbnail images for Switch to Linux and using those in my posts. And so I'm posting on X, which is only, allows me to do so much, which is very little. But on the Fediverse, it's like I post, I'll quote post regarding videos, streams, stuff like that. And I do that on Akkoma. I also do it on Pixelfed, which is an ethical form of Instagram. No data tracking or, anything like that. No tracking, no data mining, nothing. I use that to post the image thumbnails or thumbnail images, whichever way you want to say it. I do that. And I'll also post my my announcements of those videos and streams in there as well. The primary purpose for Pixelfed is for the thumbnails to exhibit the artwork. That's essentially it. And then I got one other spot, which happens to be Lemmy, which is a link aggregation discussion board. It's kind of like message boards, but it's federated and Fediverse. So there you go. And I post a special Lemmy post through Disroot's application called Scribe. And I also made a special avatar, which plays on the theming of that Switch to Linux avatar right there. Excuse me. And I made it green, and it says the Anchorage for Switch to Linux, and it's flatter. No image gradients, no lighting gradients or anything like that. It's just kind of like, bang, there you are. This is it. And because that's what I can do easily. Can I do it like that one? Yeah, but that would take a little effort. I'm not willing to really dive into it that deep. But I could do some simple stuff. So that's what I focused on. So I made that, and it's green, and there you go. So if you want to see any of those, I've got links down below to all those. You can see my postings, and you can see my ones where I say the Anchorage for Switch to Linux, and there it is. So that is that. All right, so this extra work that I'm doing for Switch to Linux, what does it mean for my channel, for this channel? A whole lot-ish. Does it take me away from doing stuff of my own? Kinda, but I'm okay with that. It's not it, because what I do isn't much more than what I was already doing, which wasn't much to begin with. It's fun. I enjoy doing it. And it's like we're out on Matrix, which is an online chat, and I'm out there. I log in every morning. I say good morning, everybody. So, and at nighttime, I say good night to everybody. And so a special shout out to Strawberry. How you doing? So there you go. Sobu, awesome guy. Well, Bonehead. Hey, Uncle Bonehead. There you go. So, yeah, shout out to some of my buddies out there. And yeah, so I do that stuff on Matrix with Switch to Linux, and I'm doing that stuff for social media on the Fediverse. and such like that. And you know, it's like I'm making the Fediverse mine, making it me. So Strawberry's brother Quantum was saying, hey, I looked at your thing, and that you know, you've got these particular things. Isn't that what this is all about? Stuff like that. And I'm like, not this account. This account doesn't focus on that stuff. So I don't do that stuff. Yeah. People do. I don't, because I don't have any need to. I don't have any want to. Well, whatever. But anyhow. So doing this extra stuff for Switch to Linux, I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm a supporter, but I felt like I could do more to some respect. So shout out to Tom, shout out to the kiddies, and shout out to my buds out on Matrix. And there we go. Yeah. So what am I doing for home? You know, what am I doing in my home life here? Well, it's getting closer to summer, so the air conditioners have to be all right, prepped and ready to go. Well, when fall hit at the end of 23, when I closed down this AC right here, I went ahead and I prepped it for this year. So I got it all cleaned out and everything like that, and then I prepped it for winter. So when I went to fire this up a little bit ago, I just turn on the breaker that's on the plug, because part of what I do is to save on cost of electricity and ghost charges. In other words, you're still pulling electricity even though something may not be on. Yeah, I was brought down, but because of the breaker on the plug, I could pop that breaker, cut the connection, and saves on that much more electricity. So that was a big benefit. And also last year at the end of summer, I took the AC that I had just hooked up last year for my bedroom. I had discombobulated that, put it away, and the other day when it was cold out, but you know, it's like I could do it. Wheeled it back, got it all hooked back up, and I've got it on not super cold or anything, but comfortable, so that and it shuts off on its own. There's no option for it. Once it reaches a certain temperature, boom, so it shuts off. So I set it to a temperature where it could do that, and great. So that's working fine. What else have I done here? My shower. I had the construction of these condo units, the building. When they built this place, they were really shoddy and cut corners in places. And when they laid out the pipes in the walls, yeah. Well, in this unit, the draining pipe is shared between the bathroom and the kitchen. So anything that happens to go down the kitchen drain, crumbs, little pieces of noodle, coffee grounds, whatever, if you do that kind of thing, it's like, it all goes down, and when it goes into the pipe, it gets to a certain point, and then it starts to collect. It stops right there, and it causes a backup in the bathtub when I'm taking a shower. Not every single time, because as long as the pipe is clear, then yeah, it's not a problem. But I got to the point where it was backing up, and it was getting pretty bad. So my solution to that was just taking boiling hot water and throwing it down the drain. And I wanted to get it from both sides. So, down the sink this way, and down the bathtub that way. And that did the trick. However, it was still backing up. And here's why. In the bathtub, you've got the drain. Your bathtub drain. Well, that drain, it comes down, and then it hits a another pipe that goes sideways to another vertical pipe that goes down to the main piping, drain piping, which is larger, you know, a couple inches probably, at least an inch, maybe two. However, this little horizontal pipe, you know, got your drain, comes down, and then when it goes that way, this is only a half inch. And the new shower head that I showed folks in a recent video in RenoQuest, at least I think it was RenoQuest, the flow on that thing is immense. It's so great that it overloads that horizontal pipe and it starts to back up. The solution, I just installed it over the weekend, was a special shutoff valve that screws on up at the shower head, and you can regulate the flow. So I got that screwed on there, threw some Teflon tape on it, got it tight, adjusted it, and I get really decent flow. That's basically doesn't back up anymore. I win. So there we go. What else am I doing in here? Nothing really. However, right over here where that chair is, now that chair belongs to Shadowstreik. And behind the TV and the screen that's right here, and you've seen it in previous videos, behind it I have new shelves, mid-century modern design. It's the same design as my coffee table and the TV stand. It's the same design. So it's got the same motif. Mid-century modern, there we go. That's the look I'm going for in here, because, you know, the screen's mid-century modern, my bar is mid-century modern, my couch is mid-century modern. That phone, it's a lamp. My grandfather made that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be building these shelves, and I'm going to be putting it in this spot. Probably going to inch it over this way because of the because of Odin's banner on the wall. Or I might move that way a little bit. I'm not quite sure yet. I'll figure it out. But as with many other YouTube channels, I mean, there's a couple of people I can think of where they've got stuff behind them. It's basically set decoration. Well, this shelving is probably going to become set decoration. Yeah, so there we go. I don't have anything directly behind my chair because I need the space, because when I stand up, I gotta, you know, push my chair back. Yeah, that's my shirt. This is my button-down shirt. Sorry. I'm a little lazy at the moment. But, yeah. So, I'm going to be building shelves there. When, I don't know, Shadowstreik has to come get her chair, which she might be doing this week. Don't quote me on it, but she might be. But, anyhow. Yeah. So, that'll be it with that piece of it. And in my final story, AI music. Yeah, artificial intelligence, not a good thing. But I'm of the type to be like, you know, it has its place. Everything has its place in one way, shape, or form. You know, we don't want everything to become Cylon and destroy the planet, which might happen someday. But anyhow, we can make music right now and be happy with that. So, an associate of mine, yeah, if I remember correctly, it was actually Solbu from my Switch to Linux clan. Found AI music and kind of didn't necessarily introduce it to me directly, but I'm like, why don't I try it out? So found the site called suno.com, and they do AI music, and it's very, very good. Some caveats. One is logging in. You can't sign up with just an email. You have to use Discord, Google, or I think Microsoft or Xbox. I remember it's Microsoft regardless. I went ahead and did a login using Discord. Because otherwise I only use that to speak with or be in contact with relatives using the application called WebCord, which is a hardened security application available on Linux. So, Solaria, excuse me. And so I've started using it, and I'm like, all right, well, I don't really want to do anything about myself or people I want to not be with, but you know, be associated with, things of that sort. You know, because the personal stuff I think can get kind of squishy, and I'm like, you know, why don't we just do stuff that is kind of fun? So I decided to pick my old high school movie, the storyline, the ism of it, and because I still have all of those scripts, and I've got the original one that we had, and I got the one that another guy wrote, but we never filmed, and then I took it from there and I wrote a number of scripts after that on my free time. So I'm going to be doing tracks on all of them, and if you want to see those, go to the playlist for Chronic Quest, and you'll see what I've got out there. And the first one I ever did, that is by far the best one, because that basically takes 3 high school movies and mushes them together. And to go along with that third piece of it, because we took 2 movies, squashed them together, and made a movie based on that. And it's really good, and the music's fantastic. Other things about Suno that I don't like so much is if you have very long titles, there's no word wrap. So in other words, if it's too long, it doesn't take words from the end and bring it down the line and throw it over so that it all fits. It doesn't have that. So when creating titles, I have to try to stay conscious of that. And one other thing that I've encountered that I don't like so much is that if you take a clip, because it does like 1 to 2 minute clips when you generate them, you can extend a clip another chunk of time, and if you've got vocals in it, of course it's going to extend those vocals. However, every time you do it, for some reason it distorts it ever so slightly. So when you have more and more and more extensions, it's going to become more and more and more distorted. It's as if you're piping it through a electric guitar distortion pedal every time, because it gets more tinny, more electric, more computerized, stuff like that. So got to keep that in mind. So the thing to do would be, you know, creating fresh tracks, and then you can't necessarily combine separate tracks. You can have to pick one and then extend beyond that one. So there's a little bit of a way that needs to be done so that it doesn't distort the voice so much. Only let it go for so long. And or you do what I started doing, part 2, part 3 kind of thing. Part 1, part 2. Haven't hit a part 3 one yet. So basically, I create a musical or instrumental track first, and then I build off of that track. I'll do a part 1, and then I'll do a part 2 where I go back to the beginning of that original track, do my intro again, and then pick it up from there, and you get fresh voices. That's the approach that I take on it. But it's excellent. I mean, I'd like to see improvements on that, or the elimination of the distortion as you extend clips. So that's something for Suno to work on, and also to get that word wrap in there so we can have nice long titles, because some people may have a lot to say. Anyhow, so there we go. And a brief, quick little thing regarding Buster Quest. There's no recent updates to Buster Quest other than I've added a couple of videos to the playlist. But Frozen Empire, it's coming out. It's already available today on digital formats, but the physical formats will be out at the end of June. There is a specific day. I think it might be the 25th. I could be wrong. I pre-ordered my copy, my DVD copy, so I'll have that so I can watch it on my TV and my computer. I don't do cable or anything, so I actually rip it and I put it on my Roku player. I've got a special hard drive off to the side that I put files on, so I'll put that there. I've got the license. I'm allowed. That's the end of that. So, in regards to the 2-in-the-box PKE meter and Ghost Trap project from Hasbro, haven't heard a dang thing. 6 months and haven't really heard anything substantial. I have not received any direct email communications with any updates to the project at this point. And we are at the pretty much the end of May. Haven't heard a thing. And, you know, people have been like, well, you're not going to hear anything. You give them the money, you don't hear anything until it shows up. Yeah, that's not necessarily the correct way to do it. The people who back up these fundraising campaigns, they're entitled to be told what's going on. Nothing drill down specific, but, you know, bullet pointy stuff. I already talked about that before in my Buster Quest clips, but, you know, I'll keep tabs on that, and I'll probably say something yet again. So there we go. And that's going to do it for this edition. So I've actually talked long enough, so I'm not going to bore you anymore with just me sitting here. So there we go. So I might have some new stuff coming up soon. I have no idea on what, but I'll think it over. Who knows? Maybe I'll do one regarding that shelving. That I might actually do that. That might be fun. So, okay. Yeah, so that's going to do it. And so thank you very much. Come on back in the future and check out what other fun videos I've got going on, my content. Check out Switch to Linux for any Linux folks, stuff like that. And also check out Disroot, because their online services are fantastic. I'm a supporter. I don't have to say that, but I do, because I also try to help them out when I can. So there we go. So thank you very much for coming along. We'll see you in the next one. So thank you very much. Skál and drink to victory.